You know, we're all taught that human civilization is basically a story of steady progress. Small groups of hunter-gatherers slowly became farmers, those villages grew into cities, and eventually, cities became nations. It's a very clean, linear timeline. But scattered across the world are these massive underground structures and, honestly, impossible engineering feats that just refuse to fit neatly into that story. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are exploring the mysteries of the global underground and the really difficult questions it raises about our origins. Which brings us to the central question we'll be unpacking today. Now, just to be clear, the existence of these perplexing subterranean discoveries doesn't automatically prove there was some lost advanced civilization. But it does force us to stop and ask, how much of our past might still be missing? Could we actually be looking at the remnants of a chapter of human history that was somehow erased from our collective memory? Okay, let's dive right into this. There is a stark contrast between our accepted historical paradigm and the physical anomalies we keep finding all over the planet. On one side, you have the mainstream timeline, that steady, predictable progression. But on the other side, we have these unexplained, massive feats of bedrock engineering that seem to completely defy the capabilities of the ancient people we believe built them. To really understand this clash, we need to look directly at the evidence. Section 1. China's Precision Caverns. We're starting off at the Longyou Caves. Picture this. It's 1992, and local villagers in China's Zhejiang province decide to drain a few local ponds that everyone thought were basically bottomless. Well, what they uncovered was a massive ancient secret. Hidden beneath the water were 24 vast subterranean caverns. Creating these would have required the removal of over 1 million tons of solid rock. To put that into perspective, carving out that much stone by hand would have taken centuries of grueling, non-stop labor. But here's where the mystery really deepens. Despite China's incredibly long-standing tradition of meticulous historical record-keeping, there is absolutely zero mention of these caverns being built. Nothing. There are no builder settlements found nearby. And perhaps the most baffling part of the whole thing? That 1 million tons of excavated rock is completely missing from the surrounding landscape. It's just gone. So, we're left with a pretty intense debate. Mainstream archaeology concludes that these caves were excavated by manual ancient tools over many generations. However, alternative researchers are quick to point out the uniform 60-degree parallel striations that cover the walls. They argue these marks bear an uncanny, almost eerie resemblance to modern industrial mining machinery. It's a striking anomaly, and it continues to spark a ton of curiosity and debate. Moving right along to Section 2, a city carved in rock. Next stop, Derinkuyu, Turkey. Get this, in the 1960s, a homeowner was simply doing some renovations in his basement when he knocked down a wall and accidentally discovered a hidden passageway. That passageway led directly into the underground city of Derinkuyu. It is a subterranean world so massive that it could shelter an astonishing 20,000 people, along with all their livestock and food supplies. I guess DIY home renovations really can uncover ancient civilizations sometimes. The engineering here is just mind-blowing. Derinkuyu descends 18 distinct levels, reaching down about 275 feet into the earth. It features communal kitchens, wine presses, and deep wells that couldn't be poisoned from the surface. It functioned using thousands of precise ventilation shafts that acted like literal natural lungs to circulate fresh air. And to top it off, to protect the inhabitants, they had these massive, half-ton rolling stone doors that could seal off the corridors from the inside. Now, historians generally agree that Derinkuyu was a temporary refuge used to survive invading armies, and to be fair, there is substantial historical evidence for that. But alternative theorists look at the extreme depth of the city and ask, why invest such an enormous amount of effort to build quite so deep? They propose this complex functioned more like a survival vault, designed to withstand a global environmental catastrophe, kind of like the sudden freezing of the Younger Dryas period over 12,000 years ago. Section 3. The Acoustic Oracle Chamber. Let's head over to the Ħal-Saflieni Hypogeum. Right beneath the Mediterranean island of Malta lies this vast limestone complex that was carved entirely by hand over 5,000 years ago. But what makes it truly unique isn't just its age, it's the physics of its design. It heavily relies on acoustic resonance. That's the phenomenon where a space actually amplifies sound waves that match its own natural frequencies. Inside a specific chamber called the Oracle Room, if a male voice hums at exactly 110 Hz, the sound vibrates throughout the entire structure with incredible intensity. Whoever built this intentionally shaped the curved surfaces of the room to focus these vibrations. Modern studies have actually suggested that resonating sound at this specific frequency can alter human brainwave patterns, inducing a trance-like or altered emotional state. Just imagine the profound psychological impact that kind of environment would have had during ancient subterranean rituals. It must have been wild. This brings up a really vital question. Does this precise manipulation of sound reflect a highly advanced, maybe even lost scientific knowledge of acoustics? Or is it simply the brilliant result of generations of trial and error by builders working with very primitive tools? Honestly, either way, it completely shatters our simplistic assumptions about what prehistoric humanity was capable of. Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, a global subterranean network. When you zoom out and look at all these global sites together, a pretty startling pattern starts to emerge. Sites separated by thousands of miles and massive oceans, like Teotihuacan in Mexico, the Osirian in Egypt, and those Longyou Caves in China, they all share these weird, unexplained characteristics. We're talking subterranean tunnels, impossible precision stonework, and bizarre geological anomalies. These are definitely not isolated incidents. Take Teotihuacan in Mexico, for example. Beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, archaeologists uncovered a sealed subterranean tunnel that actually mirrors celestial paths. And inside, they found pools of toxic liquid mercury, hundreds of golden metallic pyrite spheres, and layers of mica. Now, mica is a highly effective modern insulator, and the crazy part is it had to be imported from thousands of kilometers away. These are bizarre, incredibly advanced discoveries that hint at technological or energetic applications we just don't fully understand yet. And even in extensively studied Egypt, the anomalies are everywhere. Take the Osirian, located below ground level in Abydos. It's built with these colossal 100-ton rose granite blocks and features a highly sophisticated subterranean hydraulic system. Yet it completely lacks the hieroglyphs and art that are so typical of dynastic Egyptians. Much like the deeply water-eroded Great Sphinx, it really defies conventional timelines, almost appearing as an inherited relic from a much, much older era. Section 5. The Lost Civilization Hypothesis. Let's try to tie all this together. To make sense of these shared traits across the globe, we have to look at the overarching hypothesis. Consider this deeply ingrained mythological memory. The Aztecs believed they were one of 7 tribes created by the gods who emerged from caves to repopulate the world after a global catastrophe. And it's not just them. Ancient mythologies across the globe preserve this exact same shared ancestral memory, the story of humanity retreating underground to survive some kind of world-ending event. When you start connecting those global myths to actual physical geology, a fascinating picture emerges. We have the Mesoamerican water-sun deluge myths perfectly matching the Epic of Gilgamesh and the biblical flood stories. Physically, early excavators found Teotihuacan buried under what appeared to be dense, sudden flood sediment. And back in Egypt, we see heavy vertical water erosion on the Great Sphinx, strongly pointing to a period of heavy rainfall thousands of years before the pharaohs ever existed. So, just to be completely clear, we are looking at 2 distinct interpretations of our past here. The mainstream view maintains that these sites are independent, isolated achievements by unrelated ancient cultures who were just far more clever with stone and manual labor than we give them credit for. The alternative view suggests these sites might be the surviving remnants, or survival vaults, of a global, technologically advanced antediluvian civilization that was largely wiped out by an Ice Age cataclysm. The evidence we've explored in today's explainer, from those weirdly machine-like marks in China to the mind-bending acoustic chambers in Malta and those mercury pools in Mexico, it really demands that we keep an open mind. If these underground wonders were built by a civilization lost to the sands of time, it leaves us with one final, very provocative thought. Are we the first advanced civilization on Earth, or just the latest? Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.